Hi all. So I'm gonna try do something a little different. Obviously I think I'm the only person I've read who writes nearly the same amount of books as Stephen King, like Sir Chunk's list of all the Stephen King books would be Danielle Steele, and it's been like 20 years since I've read a Danielle Steele book, and I don't know that I would be able to accurately rank them. I mean, I guess I could rank the ones I have read, and maybe I will do that at some point. And I've been already looking at my Christopher Pike collection, so I might do like Christopher Pike books. But I can definitely I wanted to do something similar, ranking from an author that I've read everything by. And as of now, I have read everything that Riley Sager has written, except for Middle of the Night, which comes out this year. And so I'll probably do something, for that anyway. And so I figured I would rank them. There's only 7 books, so it's not going to be like a big thing. But having now read all of those 7, I want to talk about because I really like Riley Sager. And the thing is, like, I can definitely see, why his writing might be hit or miss for people. I can see some people who are like, they'll have like 4 and 5 stars and then 2 stars in his books. For me, they've all been at least a 4-star. Because even like the books I didn't really like of his, I've enjoyed reading. Even if at the end I'm kind of like, but I've enjoyed them while I'm reading them. And he does manage to write books that are very compelling to me, that from beginning to end, that I really can't put down. So, I liked them all. But, obviously, that being said, there are things I liked and things I didn't, and so I'm going to rank them. So, my least favorite, and this is a lot of people's favorite, my least favorite of his is The House Across the Lake. And the reason for this for me, and I don't want to go into too much detail, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on any of his books, because the thing with Riley Sager books is they all have a lot of twists, and some work, some don't, some are obvious, some are not, but the less you know going in, the better, and so I really don't want to give too much away. But the thing for me with like horror is I am more interested in psychological horror, or like serial killer stuff, or basically things that are realistic, metaphorical horror, but things where like the fear, the thing that scares you is either, another human being who's evil, doing horrible things, your own, you've scared yourself for whatever reason, or there's, it's a metaphor for some kind of social issue. That being said, like, I don't hate supernatural horror. I just don't like a lot of it. And so, I mean, I have enjoyed some supernatural horror, movies and books, but it's rare. And I feel like even when there is a supernatural element, I need it to be like really grounded. So like on Stephen King's books, my favorite Stephen King stuff is The Shining, which I feel like you can read supernaturally, or you can read it just basically as like a story about like alcoholism. Pet Sematary, which obviously has supernatural elements, but it's also very, very grounded in a lot of like reality stuff. I like it. It is a little too supernatural for me, to be honest. The parts I like are more like the relationships between them and their fear, rather than like the whole clown, giant spider or whatever. And then I like Needful Things. Again, it's supernatural, but it's about like the corruption of people and their like darkness and their secrets. I really like Bentley Little books. And his are supernatural, but his are kind of like social commentary with like a supernatural element. So he'll have like The Store, which is basically like, it's Walmart, but it's possessed by demons. Or The Resort, it's Disney, but it's possessed by demons. And so it's kind of like people sort of becoming kind of as like horribly evil as possible in this like very like regular everyday thing. And so it's kind of funny, even though there's like a supernatural element, but it's a little like campy. So for me to find it scary, though, like, I really do need a pretty strong, like, foundation in reality. So that's the reason House Across the Lake is my least favorite by Riley Sager. It has the most supernatural elements of his books. And none of his books are really heavily supernatural. And there's a lot I liked about this book. And like I said, all of them have been at least a 4. So it's not like I hated it. But I would say this is my least favorite because, again, it just had things that I was like, it's a little too much on the supernatural side. And that kind of also is my second least favorite is Home Before Dark. And again, this one really doesn't have too much supernatural. I really liked this. This had like a gothic horror feel to it and pretty dark. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. Like I said, I like all his books. So this one, less supernatural stuff. So I did enjoy this one for the most part. So I guess third, meaning like from the bottom, is The Last Time I Lied. And I had a hard time debating between Last Time I Lied and Survive the Night, because I think they're both right there in like that like 4, like just over a 4, just under a 5 for me. And the reason is I picked Last Time I Lied is, one, it's been longer since I've read it, and I think, again, there was some supernatural elements. There's some stuff I thought, like, could have been better, like, more fine-tuned. But overall, I really liked it. And, I mean, I was a teenage girl at camp, so I really appreciate that. And one of the things I have to say about Riley Sager and all of his books, and so I'm very interested to read Middle of the Night, because that's going to be, I think, his first book with a male protagonist. And I love the way he writes women. Like, he writes them, I feel like, realistically, but also like, so he'll write women who kind of are like, I don't want to say like complacent or cowards, but he'll write like a lot of women who are the types of women who, young women who are struggling kind of to belong, to fit in. And so they kind of can be a little wishy-washy, but they're not like, and they can be annoying to a degree, I get it, but like I find them very realistic. I think they're very realistic of women at a certain age. Not all women like that, obviously, but I know for me, that was probably a lot of what I was like. And I just think, a lot of times when men try to write women, especially women who are like struggling with like trauma or emotional stuff, they turn them into these like hysterical, nervous wrecks. And like, he manages to make them like anxious and maybe awkward without being like unrealistic. And they tend to be very sympathetic. And so, one thing I did like about Last Time I Lied is I found the character pretty sympathetic. And so the next one would be Survive the Night. And the same thing with that, like the character at times was very annoying to me, because I was just like, she kept justifying doing these really dumb things. And I will say, like, everyone told me this was the worst one. And so this was the one I had left to last. And I was waiting to hate it. And the more, like, and there were parts of it, and especially, like, towards the end, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I have much more I can do with the deal with this. But I really liked the ending. And this one is very niche. And there's a specific type of reader that I think this can work very, very well for. And I'm that reader for like a specific reason. And I don't want to say anything because it would give away too much. But it was 90s, which was fun. But also it was, the main character's a film nerd, which I really appreciated. And that does play a role in the story. And yeah, so there were some cool Easter eggs here that I found that I liked. And I thought he did a good job without like being, I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it and he wasn't being as savvy as I thought, but I think what he was doing, or at least what I think he was doing, I really liked. But again, maybe I'm overthinking it and giving him more credit than I should, but I'm pretty sure I think I know what he was doing, and I think he did it well. So that's all I'll say about that. So then my three favorites are, and I'm torn because I'm torn on on 2 and 3. And the 2 and 3 are Final Girls and Lock Every Door. And so I think I'll probably say that, like, realistically, I think Lock Every Door is a better book. And I do really, really like it. It's creepy, it's gothic, it's just, I knew what was coming, but it wasn't what I thought, and I was just like, this is wacky, but it was good, and I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the character. And again, this is one of those characters that I think a lot of people find very, very irritating, because she is kind of a mess, but I think that makes sense, because, like, you need this character, because the situation, she needs to be desperate, and it worked for me. I really sympathized with her. And then my second favorite is Final Girls, which I think was his first book, or at least under this pen name. And I loved Final Girls. Like, there are definitely flaws in this book. I'm not going to pretend it's not, it's perfect. And there is actually a little bit of a supernatural element in this one. But what I really loved about Final Girls is I really liked the characters. I thought it was, like, solid. And I was really impressed at how, like, this managed to be, like, a really compelling, like, fast-paced, like, kind of thriller, while also being extremely emotional. Like, I actually cried in this book. And I think that's hard to pull off. And I really loved it for that. And so that's my second favorite. And then my favorite overall is Only One Left. It was just perfect. Like, all the twists worked. Everything just worked for me. All the characters felt like, I feel like all the things I've liked about Riley Sager's writing, I think Only One Left. It's like all the strong parts of his writing, and then he took, like, all of his, like, weaker points, and I think he's refined them, and his writing has improved. So, so that's my favorite. So again, I like all of them, so I'm not going to really hate any of them. So if you hated them, I totally understand. Like, I know, like, I can totally understand why somebody might be like, this is super cheesy, or this is ridiculous, but I just find them really fun. And, like, his books are perfect to me because, like, I never want to stop reading. From the second I pick it up, I know I'm going to be compelled to, like, keep going. I know I'll read them quickly. The characters will be interesting. He'll definitely throw some twists my way, some of which I'll pick up on, I think are pretty obvious, and some I won't. And, like, I have yet to end one of his books and been disappointed with how it ended. And so I think that's impressive, because, like, being able to just keep you going and then have you not be like, I don't know about that. And I can't think of any other writer that's been able to pull that off, this consistently. Like, I love Alice Feeney, and I have one more of hers to read, so maybe I'll do hers as well, because, but I have had a book of hers that I was just kind of like, I don't know about the ending here. And I haven't really felt like that with Riley Sager's books. So, if you haven't read anything by Riley Sager, I definitely check it out, especially, like, if you're just looking for, like, a fun summer read. I mean, it's not going to, like, challenge you intellectually, maybe, but it's going to be fun, and you're going to have a good time. So, those are my thoughts on his 7 books so far. All right, bye.